The mind is mechanics. It's like your computer. It's mechanics. Even the sensations and all these things, the sensations, the memories, the mind. Okay, these are mechanics of the various bodies or senses, faculties, whatever you want to call them. And the imagination, and in Paul's day, Rebazar gave a little story, talked about this individual who was carrying this big mirror from the heavens or whatever. He just gave a little story because these are the old parables that they gave. And then on his journey to somewhere, he dropped the mirror and all these little pieces fell all over the place. They scattered and whatever, and some individuals picked them up. In other words, that mirror was the reflection of the reality, or in the old days was the God idea. It was a reflection of God. And some individuals picked it up and some didn't. In other words, you see this in the world today. Most of the world is literal, one-dimensional, literal. They don't realize that. They're thinking that, oh, no, we're in a 3-dimension and now we're in the 4-dimension and we're going in the 5th dimension. Well, these are, again, ideas upon ideas. And the imagination is a tool, you might say. It is a reality that we're experiencing more so than the mind. And, again, it takes a little practice to recognize the difference, but most people have brought into play that their imagination is their mind, you see. And so they don't talk about the imagination too much, only once in a while, but mainly the mind itself and the structure of things. This is only in creation. The imagination and all these things that we experience here through the 5 bodies do not apply to the real universes, because the isness that is recognized, the all aliveness, I call it, the sound, light, reality, whatever, it's already perfect. So you can set up something in your imagination to relate to it. So again, it's like, creating a diving board to dive into the water, all right? So you can get a little bit higher, you might say. But the imagination itself is flexible according to the mind. And actually, when people think, well, I invented this idea and I thought it up and whatever, actually they first imagined it and then brought it into the play of the mind, and the mind calculated it, is what the mind does, just like your computer. You only go to your computer to calculate things or research or whatever because it's a storehouse. And so the same thing, the real you utilizes the various vehicles accordingly, but it really utilizes its imagination and its intuition the most. But for it to recognize that takes a little bit of time to kind of pinpoint it and to separate the difference. So again, that's an individual affair. And so as you do recognize these things in creation, the different parts of yourself, this is where you face yourself. Okay, and it's best to, because then you start to recognize these different parts. You can learn to make better choices, and you can learn to get on with the activity that is in the new nowness of life, and not like the old days where people just sat around and meditated and did all these cute things. Well, fine, meditate once in a while. That makes you feel good. But realistically, you don't need to do any of these things because it is recognition, and that's with you all the time. So you don't have to sit in a certain posture or do things or consider things or all these things. The actual balance, and if you're going to use these ideas, balance, peace, harmony, all these things, they're with you all the time. It's how you see them. And actually what's better is the isness. You don't need any of those ideas. Once you recognize, this is what I call perceiving, okay? Once you recognize and understand this, you might say communication with this reality, okay? You don't need any of these things. You don't need thought, imagination, or whatever, because it is you. You recognize now it is fully you, more than so just the idea, but an actual event, an actual recognition. But in the meantime, while we're in creation and to relate to others, we utilize these different faculties, and it's fun in its own way to, you might say upbeat things with people. You give them the opportunity. Well, especially in the business world that I've been in for a long time, I decided that, and I creatively put myself into it. For the most part, I have to deal with people that are very literal. They feel that the rules, regulations, which are really restrictions, apply first. They always look to what you can't do first. Okay, well, that can't be done, but maybe we can figure out and do it. You see, this is their approach for the most part. And then when you meet somebody that says, yeah, we can do that, let's do it. That's amazing. I hardly ever meet anybody like that. Most of the time it's like, well, I can't do that. I don't have time. Oh, I never did that, blah, blah, blah. Me, when I hear something, if it makes sense, it's just like, yeah, let's do it. And we'll figure it out on the way. It's not that it's just that you instantly know everything, but at least you move forward. And this is where life backs you. And especially now you have the new you and the boys. So again, it's up to the individual how they apply themselves. But the imagination is very workable, but it's very limited according to your real awareness. And so how you see these things from your intuition, your insight, your mind, your emotions, etc. Most things go to the motion and sensation, and people think that they need to, well, gee, I have to feel this, or I don't have any feeling about this, or I don't have any feelings for you. See, it's come to the physical astral part of sensations where you got to have feelings, okay? And so, which realistically you don't. Does the sun have feelings? Is there belief or happiness there or whatever? Again, these things are decided accordingly. The isness is better than any happiness, any joy, any thrill, any bliss, because it's real. It's so real that to recognize it, yeah, that's something else. But in the meantime, in creation, the imagination, okay, it's a useful tool, you might say, because it's more flexible than the mind. But this is why we have the systems that we do, the educational system, because those that control the world, which has been agreed upon, most people want the world controlled, well, they want everybody robotized and one-dimensional, stay one-dimensional, so they can continue to be controlled. Well, we're here showing them more. So again, it's how you apply these things, but that's a start, and that should get you into your intuition, and eventually at some point you do have this real recognition, and you apply it accordingly while you're in creation. That's why the boys are here. They've done their part. They've moved on. They stand real on the real side, okay? And so this is why Paul left when he did. It was to support what I'm doing here, okay? So he did his part, and now it's to support what I'm doing, and all the real guys to support what we're doing now, and as we go on, etc., and see how this comes out. Again, we have to deal with free will in this world. And so very few people will step up to figure it out. Their personal life's too important, or they've got all kinds of excuses, etc. Well, again, it don't work. You do it or you don't. That's the reality of things. So there's no in between. Or you keep yourself in the gray area. But if you need your imagination to help you get going, use it. And eventually recognize the real you. That's the best part. And those that do, just like the real guides, they step up. They're assisting everybody. They're not just off in some la-la land, just having their blissful experiences. No, they're very focused on the individuals, all the people here that are willing to do something, and they see your intent, too. They see it, and they can only guide you and educate you according to your intent and your willingness to make better choices, wake up, be more real, etc., and to recognize this reality. But the imagination is a faculty in creation that's utilized to help these things along. And not that much is talked about it realistically. It's put in the background. And just like Joni and the corporation, it's just basically Xing out the so-called inner experiences, etc., keeping people one-dimensional, forget your imagination. We'll tell you what life is about. You just follow our instructions. You just read the books, just like in school. You don't need an imagination. You know, you're going to get a diploma. You're going to be educated. You're going to have a great job with us. So you don't need your imagination. This is the world today, but you decide.
This planet Earth needs a lot of help from all of us right now. Dean Val of NUUU, Nations United, Universal University, is contacting people around this world every day to share the importance of the all-natural environment supporting all of us. Dean Val and Duane Lee Hepner.org 501c3 have created CAN, Community Action Network, to help all communities become aware of how to be self-sufficient with permaculture and food and rainforests. We are always looking for real people to step up who want to learn what life on this earth is all about. We will be leasing large portions of land to create something wonderful for all communities everywhere. Contact Val Vittles on Skype and Facebook, and through the phone number and the website DuaneTheGreatWriter.net provided in the links, to get involved with what we all can do now. The NUUU, Nations United Universal University, is dedicated to supporting and providing a real purpose and real awareness with the all-natural environment supporting all of us. First comes this earth with food and rainforests, and to protect what is still here. For those who have the awareness to see what is actually taking place here with all the natural devastation, which is also purposely planned by world controllers, you now have a real opportunity to step up and do something with those who also care about your planet Earth. Duane Lee Hepner has created the NUUU, Nations United Universal University, which completely entails the all-natural environment everywhere, and a real education that has real value, and that far surpasses any commonly created indoctrinating educational system that does not focus on what sustains all of us naturally. Real survival makes sense with everything here that is self-sustaining.